Hey guys, so if you're watching this video it's because you want to improve your gameplay versus healing monks. I'm gonna keep this video simple, alright? I'm a strong believer of that. Because one, it's easier for you to retain the information, and two, when you're under a lot of stress, it's easier for you to access it and put it to use. So I'm not gonna give you guys that whole hoo-ah, you know, whenever a monk does this move, it's a 3% this, you know, multiplied by 2 because they activated with this. Nah, we ain't gonna do that here. We're just gonna keep it simple so that way you guys could learn and understand it. So I'm gonna show some videos from this season and the prior season with examples. And my commentary is mostly gonna revolve around the monks. And remember, the healing monks have two type of game style, Mistweaving and Fistweaving. In this video, it's a Mistweaver. It's more traditional, it's more casting, and they tend to be more crowd control heavy. And that's because between their channels and their hots, they're able to keep up that healing. They can move in, stun, paralyze, do whatever, and then roll back out. And if you're having problems with them, keep in mind, it's also who your partner is. Because in this match, I'm playing with a Death Knight. So yeah, he may have double Death Grip, Chain of Ice, but the mobility of the monk is way more higher than the lockdown of my Death Knight. So yeah, man, so don't beat yourself up a lot. I mean, sometimes you can do everything you can, but sometimes it's your partner that's holding you back. So, since this Mistweaver, he's a traditional healer, casting, and channeling. Just remember, just interrupt, drag his partner behind line of sight, so that way it's harder for him to catch up. And whenever you see the monk running up to you, most likely they're going to start their crowd control chain. So just go ahead and prepare, drop your healing totems, use your Riptide, keep that passive heals. Every time I go against a Mistweaver, I tell myself, interrupt when they're casting, and purge whatever hots they got on. Because looking at the detail add-on on the right, I mean, he's out healing me by a lot. And the big advantage that you also have is your range DPS. Between Fire Shock, Frost Shock, and Lava Burst, I could have, you know, thrown way more DPS and put more pressure on him, but I had to play defensive because the warrior was on me. So here's another match with a Mistweaver. And like in the last video, we're going to go ahead and use those fundamentals that I said, that I always remind myself. Purge when you can, interrupt when you can, and drag away from their partner. And keep your distance from them so that way they do not start their crowd control chain on you. And most of the time what I do and what I've seen, they'll jump in there, boom, paralyze you, go ahead and leg sweep, and then throw the little sleep miss, and you know, mess you up big time. In this match, I'm playing with a ranged DPS, so obviously it's going to be easier for my partner to have more uptime on the monk. Another thing that helps is you keeping Frost Shock on the enemy healer, because look, he's slowed down but he's still coming to me, so it's already telegraphed that he's trying to crowd control me. And I say I got lucky here that the monk didn't have Ring of Peace, because if he was smart, he'll go ahead and do it just right and have me spanking against that wall, so that way I can't move and I cannot cast. So that leads to another tip: stay away from the walls unless you know for sure these monks does not have Ring of Peace. Mistweaver monks tend to be more defensive, and as you can see, this monk, he's just staying back there, just healing up his partner. I mean, he's in good position behind that pillar. I can't reach him, my partner can't reach him, so we're trying to drag him out by dragging his partner more and more farther away from that pillar. And as you can see, he used a roll to catch up. Now he has one less in his toolkit that he can use to either A, get away, or catch up to his buddy. And that's important information that you should be relaying to your partner, because if your partner wants to swap to him, then at least, hey, you could tell him, listen, he has no rolls or he just used one roll, so you should be able to have more uptime on him. Or if you're gonna drag him away, It's like, hey, listen, he has no rolls, same thing. He's going to be hard for him to catch up and save his friend. Alright, so this match is going to be against a Fistweaver monk. And as always, it also depends who your partner is. Fistweaver monks, plain and simple, as long as they're in melee range and they're attacking, they're able to do instant passive healing. So, if your partner's melee, common sense gonna be, they're gonna have more uptime, which means their heals are gonna be more. So, we need to keep him out of melee range. That way, we could cut down on his healing. And also keep in mind, since they're in melee range, it's easier for them to use Touch of Death. Because a regular Mistweaver, you could kind of telegraph they're about to burst you down. Because if this guy, who's always on range, decides to roll up on you to get into melee range, hey man, you already know you're about to get crowd control. Or they're about to burst you down and he's just spamming his little Touch of Death. And meanwhile, the Fistweaver, he's on you constantly. So whenever that thing activates for him, he's going to go ahead and send it. So you might blink and open up your eyes and find yourself upside down with your legs in the air like a cockroach. But on the other hand, from my experience, Fistweavers are not that crowd control heavy. Because think about it, they're on your partner, right? You over here, let's say 40-yard range. This guy's going to have to break away from the DPS to run over there to you, do his little crowd control, and then try to catch up again to your partner so they could go ahead and start healing. So, hey man, it's risky, you know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't even do that. I would just keep up with the damage and keep up with the heal. And two things I want you guys to focus on. The detail add-on on the bottom right. As you can see, Fistweaving, look how much heals he's throwing out. And also, just look at the HP. Whenever he does not connect to me or my partner, he starts dropping. When he does connect, he starts stabilizing. So this is the part that I start dropping. So you know right now he's spamming his little Touch of Death. So I'm going to slow it down. Keep an eye on the Fistweaver's HP. So right now he's hitting me. He got his little damage and everything coming in, his little heals. But now I break the distance. My partner switches to him. He has no rolls right now. He's away from his teleporter and he can't do anything. He's out in the open. He's not getting passive heals and down he goes. And that's another thing for you guys to be aware of. Make sure you're tracking on where their teleporters are. So fight away from them, because there you take away one of their biggest mobilities. So quick summary, against a Mistweaver, go ahead and interrupt, go ahead and purge, and drag their partner behind line of sight so it'd be harder to catch up. They're crowd control heavy, just be careful, keep your distance. For Fistweavers, hey, as long as they're melee, they're healing. So make sure you kite them, make sure you keep that distance, make sure they're not hitting anything. They're not that crowd control heavy because they're going to take a hit on their healing output. If you have a melee partner, it's probably going to be a harder match. Also, since they're melee, it's going to be easier for them to use Touch of Death to execute you. So try to keep some hots up. Try not to go ahead and go down to that percentage. Alright guys, so hopefully this helped. Hopefully I kept it as simple as I could. And like always, hopefully you guys learned something new. Thanks again for your support.